All right, let's go ahead and get started. Why wait? Huh? If you're on time, you're late. That's what they say. So let me know, guys, if you can hear me. Do drop a 1 in the chat in the comments so I can so I know you hear me. Okay. Go ahead and drop a 1 in the chat. Okay, thank you. TikTok's good. If you're watching Facebook or YouTube, drop a 1 in the chat just so I know that you guys can hear me. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. We're ready to get started. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about sales tip number 1. This is from my podcast that dropped this morning. If you haven't listened to it yet, highly recommend it. Go to the Hammer and Grind podcast and listen to it. And I got a treat for you guys next week. I'm really excited for it to come out next week. I interviewed a contractor to help him in his business. So it was really kind of like a coaching session. And we got pretty deep on some stuff. And I think it's going to be a really, really, really good podcast. I'm interested to hear your guys' feedback on that podcast after you listen to it. So next week, Monday, when it drops, after you listen to it, give me some feedback. That way I know if we want to do more of those. It was a little bit long, went a little over an hour long, but I think it's going to be fantastic. So I'm excited about that. Today's podcast that dropped was sales secret number 1, become a teacher. So what does that even mean? Well, one of the things that people that have been in business for a while who have established a brand that fully understand this is that when you become a teacher in your marketplace, then you become the expert. And so not only does this help you with your sales, it actually helps you with your marketing and SEO. So when you start becoming a teacher, when you start creating content around specific things in your industry, and you start pushing that out to the audiences, to the world and your customers, in their minds, you become the expert, right? The simple fact that you guys are watching me right now is because I've put out content which leads you to believe that I have some knowledge, whether I'm the expert or not, is, you can determine that. But I've put out content, enough content, regular content, consistent content that you guys believe I have enough information that I can share with you and that you can get value out of it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, right? If I didn't put out any content on TikTok or Facebook, YouTube, none of you guys would be here watching it. This is the same thing that applies to your business in regards to your customers. Now, a lot of people, when it comes to getting leads and sales, it's all about referrals, and that's all you need is referrals. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole today. But the problem with referrals is you're giving 100% of your livelihood and putting it into someone else's hands. You have no control over your business and the amount of leads that you're getting, and therefore the sales that you're making, right? And so it's critical to the longevity of your business to be able to create your own lead flow. And when you can do that through teaching, it makes you the expert. Now we've all been on TikTok or Facebook or YouTube, and we've seen a video that somebody posted, random person, maybe we didn't know them, maybe we did, and we watched the video and we're like, huh, I never knew that. That's something new. I learned something new. That's been even more the case on TikTok. Like that's every day if I'm on TikTok, I see something, I'm like, oh, I never knew that. I didn't know that product existed. I didn't know this tip. I didn't know you could do that. And so we're learning stuff. And then if we learn something from that person, what do we typically do? We typically follow them, right? Because hey, if he gave us some good information, we're going to get some more good information. The exact same thing applies to your customer base. So when you can start creating content, and it doesn't have to be video all the time. It can be blog posts. It can be, just regular posts like on Facebook or Instagram or pictures. When you start creating content and circulating it amongst your demographics of people, you become the expert. And not only that, out of sight, out of mind. So if you're not creating anything, if you don't have any ads or any social media presence whatsoever in your business, you're out of sight, out of mind. It blows my mind that of people that will start a business, tell basically no one that they're in business, and then somehow through like osmosis or miraculous, divine intervention, people just automatically know they're in business, even though they've never told anyone that they're in business. One of the very first things I tell people that are starting a business, like if they haven't started it yet and they're out looking for tips, I say, here's what you need to do. You need to make a list of every single person you know. And you need to, the top, 20 or so, 20, 25, 30 people that are the most important to you, that have the most influence, that are people that want you to succeed and that you have the most respect for. You're going to write out a letter saying, look, hey, I'm starting a business. This is why I'm starting it. This is what I'm going to specialize in. And if you or anybody that needs some work, please send them my way. I'm going to, type that out. The top 25 people, I'm going to put that into a letter that I'm going to hand address, and I'm going to mail it to them. Everyone else that I know, all the other 200, 300, 400 people that I may know in my network, I'm going to post it on Facebook. I'm going to send them text messages. I'm going to send them emails. I'm going to tell everybody in the whole world that I'm in business. It's no different than with your content and teaching about what you do. So if you tell people you're in business, okay, great. Now they know that you're in business. But 6 months from now, if they don't see or hear from you ever again, they forgot about you. Out of sight, out of mind. And so the sales tip part of this, which I'll get to in a minute, is that once you create awareness around what you do, now it becomes easier to get in front of people, right? So the first part is people have to know you exist. They have to know, they have to like you, and they have to trust you. Those three things have to happen before someone will hire you for their project. Know, like, and trust. Most of you skip the know part. And this is why teaching is extremely critical to the know part. That's how people get out. If you create we've all watched a funny video, a commercial. I shared one today with my friends that was you guys probably seen Harry Mack. He does, off the cuff rap music with words and stuff. I watched a video. I was watching the video and it was funny. It was just a funny one. I sent it to my friends, right? So if you find something that you like, you share it with people. If my coworker is, he's like, or they or whatever, say, hey, we're thinking about remodeling our kitchen. You guys know any good contractors? They're going to ask everybody in their office place, and some people may say, yeah, we use this. My sister used this company. Don't ever use them. They had a bad experience, blah, 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 blah. If 3 weeks goes by, I see a video on my feed of a contractor talking about kitchen remodels, and he's educating me and telling me things about why you should do this or why you shouldn't do that or blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, this person seems like they know what they're talking about. I'm going to take that video and I'm going to share it to my coworker and say, hey, John, I don't know anything about this company, but this just came across my feed. It must be Facebook eavesdropping in our conversations, but it might be worth checking out. right? So like just that one piece of content that you created may trigger me to share that with someone else. Or if you create like a funny video, we've all probably seen the commercial with the, I forget what the brand is, but it was like a unicorn was like pooping on a scoop of ice cream and it was rainbow color. It was the Harmon brothers that created this commercial. Really funny, entertaining, engaging. People shared that. So if you create some things like that, that's really over the top, people are going to share that more. You're going to go viral within your networks. It's going to get more exposure. But when you start educating, when you become a teacher and you start telling your clientele and your demographics like how to do things, what's important, you're the expert. If you have the option to hire two people, one of them has been in business for 10 years. They may have a few reviews. They have a decent looking website with just general information. The second one has been in business for maybe 4 years, has some pretty good reviews, but they have a YouTube channel, they have a TikTok account, they have, Instagram, and they're putting out content regularly. I can go watch their content. Maybe it's a car detailer. I'm going to have my car detailed, and I see this local company and they have a TikTok account. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to click on it. I go watch their video and they're showing their like how they clean their cars. They're talking about why steam works better than this. And they're giving tips on how to prolong in between waxes and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to consume that information, and every single piece of information that I consume, it makes you more and more of an expert. What's going on with my video? Is it blinking on your guys' end? Because it's like doing weird stuff on mine. So the more information that you put out, the more information that I'm going to consume as a consumer, the more of an expert you become. Case in point, my wife and I recently, I mean, we've been thinking about getting a camper for a long time. We've been renting campers through Outdoorsy, and we're looking at potentially next year in the wintertime buying a camper. I started the process of, learning and educating myself about campers because I don't know that much about campers, right? So I'm educating myself about them, and I start looking through YouTube channels, and I find this one particular person who is putting out a lot of content, and I like his style, and so I start consuming more of it and more of it and more of it. I've probably watched, I don't know, 40 videos from this one person. He works for a large, RV dealer, not close here, but in my state, 3 or 4 hours away and elsewhere. But I consume his information because it's very good. And if there wasn't necessarily a local dealer, or that's the only place I could go, I'm gonna want to go there first. Like that's where I want to go because he's gave me all kinds of information to consume. He's become the expert, regardless of whether or not he's good at sales, or the company is not very maybe the company itself that he works at is not legit, which I don't believe that to be true. I believe they are legit, but I'm just saying, even if you don't do a good job with your work, which hopefully you do, but even if you didn't do a good job with your work, but you put out a lot of content, it actually makes you seem like the expert. So becoming a teacher is going to make your job 10 times easier. I remember one particular customer that called me. They had 2 bathrooms, their master and a hall bath that they wanted to remodel, both of them. And I had reached out to him and I was talking to him, and she's like, I watched all your videos on live because I would go live a lot on Facebook. She's like, I've seen all your videos and stuff. I've consumed it. Like, we've known for a while now that we want to hire you. Like, that's what she told me before I ever gave her an estimate, that she's been watching my lives for months and months and months and consuming all my content. That's the power of becoming a teacher. If you just want to like sit back and hope that the phone rings and you're just like, scratching the table. If this is a table, man, I hope the phone rings one day. I hope it rings. Guys, you got to, and by the way, this is the tip for the next sales tip number 2 is about Sales is an offensive. It's being on the offense. It's like being on the attack. Sales is not sitting around waiting for the phone to ring. It's you outbound doing outbound activities to make the phone ring. But when you put all that information together, like the customer that called me and was like, "Hey, we've been consuming your information for months," the job was already sold. Like I didn't have to sell them anything. And that's the secret. Like when you become a teacher and you put out content, you don't have to sell anything. It's already sold before they even get on the phone with you. And now it's just a formality. As long as you're not like 100 times more expensive than what they could afford, they're going to hire you. It's your job to lose. So when you become a teacher in your marketplace, it makes the selling that much easier. And it's really at that point, it's not even selling. It's just taking their information and going forward. Like that's the difference. That's the sales secret, is becoming a teacher. But when you're just relying on the guy down the street to refer you, and they call you and it's like, "Hey, we want to get an estimate on a job." Okay, I'll come out and get some measurements and give you an estimate. And you go out there, you might get the job if it's a really good referral, if it's a strong referral, maybe or maybe not. You don't know. But when you become a teacher, you become the expert. Had some calls come in. Let me look. I mean, not calls. I had some comments come in. Let me look here and see. Spec Holmes hugs babies and shakes hands, just like the people who run the country. Yeah, he's using politics to get stuff. Spec Holmes uses a camper every Thursday to Sunday. Yeah. So there are lots of people in the category of networking, and you can do well with just networking, and you can. Spec Holmes is one of those people. Doesn't have a website, been in business for 30 plus years, and he does really well. The thing is, though, is that today it doesn't work the same. 30 years ago, your word was all that mattered. Your reputation is what mattered. Before the yellow pages even existed, your word is what mattered, right? So when you can network with people, now you can also create channels through networking. But why simply rely on networking? See, my approach is scorched earth. It's dominate everything. I'm doing the networking, and I'm going to have a website, and I'm going to put out content on a regular, right? And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to call people, and I'm going to do advertisements and run ads. I'm doing everything. I'm not just doing the networking part and that's it. I'm doing everything. That's how you dominate in your area. Now, if you're a home builder and you only build 4 custom homes a year, and that's all you need to do, you're not going to need that much business, right? You don't need that much business. But if you're a bathroom remodeler and you need to do 20 to 40 jobs a year, you're going to need more business coming in. You're going to need more leads. You're going to need more at bats. So it does depend on what you're doing. But my suggestion is do it all. And for one, you got to track it. You need to collect data and see what works. But don't just say, "Well, I don't need a website because I've been doing this for so long and that's it." Right? Like that doesn't apply across the board for every industry. Jim says, I kind of agree with the age we live in, but I let my work speak for itself. 90% of my business is word of mouth. Jim, nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I've said this before. Word of mouth is the best type of work. But if the economy tanks, if the recession happens, if people stop spending, they stop referring. And again, if you only need a small portion, if you're a lifestyle contractor, if you only need 3 jobs a year, you only need 10 jobs a year, you've been in business for 20 years, you have that reputation established. But if someone's starting a business today with 0, customers, and you say all you need is word of mouth, you're basically setting them up to failure, because that's not going to help a brand new company. It's just starting out. So you have to understand that, yes, when you get to a certain point, the leads will just start coming in on their own. But you have to build to that point. So the first, 1 to 5 years, depending on where you live and all that stuff, the first 1 to 5 years is building the reputation. Then after that, the next 6 to 20 years can be living off of that reputation. And it also depends on how much you want to scale. Do you want to add more people? Do you want to grow to a multi-million-dollar business? Or do you just want to do $300,000 a year and pocket 150 and you're happy with that? Being a one-man show as a handyman. You only want to work 3 days a week. Like, it totally depends on what your end goal is. But for most companies, you need to create more leads than what you need. Let's see. Clint says Angie leads won't leave me alone. Anyone have no? Clint, don't do any of those. Don't do Angie's leads. Don't do Thumbtack. Don't do any paid ads. There's a very specific subset of people that can do paid ads and do it well, and it's not most people. It's usually people that are very successful that already have they're scaling to 50 to 100 million. They need more leads. If you're a one-man show, less than 10 employees, you don't need Angie's leads or any of that crap. Leo Cart says, where do you find good employees, though? You got to steal them from other people. That's just a fact of it. You just got to steal them from other people. You got to attract them. Facebook user says 8 years in, it's still hard to keep enough leads coming in. Yeah, you got to keep the leads coming in. Jim says, I'm a single owner LLC with no employees, so I struggle with keeping up with the workload. Yeah, Jim, when you're a one man show, it's easier to do that. I mean, it's easier to get not need as many leads and try to keep up. Leo says, I sell the hell out of work but can't find an employee. Well, if you're selling the hell out of it, the first thing I tell you to do is raise your prices. Jim says it's hard to keep up with that and set up everything to record for people to see on social media. It's not hard at all, Jim. You literally grab your cell phone, you have a Facebook Live, you open your phone live and say, hey, this is Jim here. I'm on this building, this new construction we're doing. We're going to be pouring new footers today. This is how the process works, blah, blah, blah. You're live in 5 minutes. You're done. Like, you literally could go live within 10 minutes and you're done. Like, you don't have to set a bunch of stuff up. It's just raw and dirty, fast, raw and dirty. I'm sure there's some innuendo that could be made, jokes in there, but Facebook user says YouTube 10 years, Insta, TikTok, website, email campaigns, blogs. Yeah, do the whole kit and caboodle. Yeah, spec homes. My demographic is 1 to 30 million per unit. I design, build, manage. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're probably not doing 20 homes a year or 20 units a year. I would imagine you're probably doing more like 3 to 5. And if that's the case, you don't need that many leads to keep that pipeline full. Jim says, "I customers put me on their Facebook neighborhood site, so that helps a lot." Well, that's good, but give them information, Jim, to share. That's the whole thing. Like, create videos that they can share on the Facebook neighborhood site. Leo says, "I started my business with Angie's leads. It was amazing for me." Clint says, "That's what I keep telling them." Jim says, "That's the truth. You have to pay more for good employees." That's true. That's true. I'm slacking. Are Google ads worth it? Yeah, Google ads are the number one. Google ads are the best. Well, I shouldn't say the best. Google ads is going to be best for most people, depending on your industry and depending on your area. It can be very expensive to do Google ads, but in terms of return of investment, generally Google ads are worth it. Because you have to keep in mind that Google ads is targeting keywords. So if someone's searching for landscape remodeler near me, they're actively looking for the keywords of your service, which means they're actively looking for you or your services. That's the thing with Google Ads. It's people actively searching for you. Whereas Facebook ads or organic is more like a billboard where you're just putting out information. They happen to be driving by and they happen to see it. Oh, look, there's a new landscaping company. We were looking to get our landscape done. I should call them. But if they're not looking for landscaping, and there could be 50,000 cars drive by the billboard that says, landscape company. If they're not looking for landscaping, they're not going to notice it. So that's the difference between like a Google ad, which is very specific, people actually looking for stuff, versus a Facebook ad that has to be right time, right place. The fence company says we pay $2K a month on Google Ads, but we get $70K at work. Yeah, so understanding your return of investment, right? I mean, if you pay $2K and get 70, that's a pretty darn good return of investment. But here's the thing about understanding leads too. Like the fence company, if he's getting 2K and spending 2K, getting 70, and he wants to scale, or they want to scale, in theory, they could spend $4,000 a month. They could double down on their ads, and that could potentially produce 140,000, because when you scale that, it scales the outcome as well. There may be a little bit of a reduction as you keep going up, but it's still going to be worth it. Yeah, it does take money to make money. That's why I'm telling you, like, you can do free, low cost options, which is like doing lives. But that type of stuff is going to give you opportunities to get in front of people without spending a bunch of money. Because especially if you're first starting out, you don't have $2,000 a month to spend on ads. Stay painting. I just joined up with Heartland for employee benefits. Hopefully, get more qualified help. I would check on that. I would track the return on that, because not everybody wants benefits. I mean, a lot do, but not everybody does. I was looking through the comments again. Ooh, excuse me. So, become a teacher. That's what the podcast was about today. If you guys haven't listened to it, go listen to it. If you've never even listened to my podcast, I highly recommend it. I don't know how many episodes I got now. 126, I think. I got 100 today, or no, today's episode was 126. I got 127 recorded. Getting ready to record 128. So there's plenty of content there for you guys to get tons of information. Facebook user says, hired a marketing company, 2K a month and no closed lead yet. A lot of junk leads. I don't know who you are, Facebook user. If you're paying that kind of money and not getting leads, I would recommend getting a new marketing company. And I don't know who it is. It might even be somebody that I recommended. I don't know. It does depend on the keywords. It depends on the information. It depends on sometimes it takes a little bit of time for the algorithms to learn your audience. So sometimes if you're launching a new ad campaign, and you've never done it before, and you're not sure who the demographic you want to go after, or you're not sure what keywords to use, you have to spend a little bit of money in order to get the data to be able to make the decision on what's right or what's not, what's working, what's not working, like where to go. The fence company says if you're starting out, get door hangers and target the neighborhoods you want. Very cheap. It works. I mean, anything can work. Like my philosophy is try to do the things that are going to return the most amount of money. I'm not a huge fan of door hangers, like just randomly selecting door hangers and neighborhoods and putting them on there. I'm a huge fan of putting door hangers on the homes that you're working by. So if you're installing a fence for a customer, you got door hangers. It's like, please excuse our mess, and you go hang them on some people call them 5-pack, they call them 5x5, whatever. But you're putting them on the 5 homes, 2 next door, 3 across the street. It's like, hey, we're working in the neighborhood. If anything happens, give us a call. Huge fan of those. Not really a big fan of the stuffing the mailboxes and door hangers, because when I get that stuff on mine, I just throw it away. Does it work? Yeah, it can. Absolutely. All that stuff works. It's just understanding what the return of investment is. If I'm going to go spend 10 hours canvassing a neighborhood and hanging door hangers and I don't get any phone calls, I'm not going to do it again. Now, could I pay a college kid $100 to go do that? Sure. Now, is that a better use of my time? Yes. It all depends. It really all depends, and to keep it scaling, to keep the cost low if you're trying to scale. Stay Painting says, love your stuff. I'm working on growing fast. Thanks again. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Okay, we're good there. Campaign's been live 2 weeks. Yes, they did say, yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have to dial it in. Yeah, you're gonna have to spend about a month or so, at least a month, really, to get a good dial in of the demographics and stuff. A lot of people believe, and same with videos and stuff. If you go look through my TikTok videos, I've tried lots of different styles of videos. Some are heavily edited, some are just raw me talking, some are response videos, some are scripted out like tips and tricks, some are off the cuff, just raw. There's things that I've tested to see what gets the kind of results that I want. And I can tell you right now, on TikTok, at least for sure on TikTok, the ones that do the best are usually response videos where I'm replying to a comment. The comment is like somebody saying, you're dumb or this stuff doesn't work, like conflicting with what I'm saying, and then I'm responding to that comment, sometimes with a very polarizing view. Those typically get the best response. So the only way I know that, though, is by trying things, testing it, and measuring the results. So I know if I want to get a lot of views and a lot of comments, all I have to do is make a video about something that's very polarizing. Right? That's all I got to do, because people they'll start flipping out, and I'll start getting, one side versus the other. They'll start arguing in the comments, and that helps build the algorithm and builds engagement. The only way I know that is because I've tried a bunch of different videos. So it's the same with ads and marketing. You just got to throw a bunch of stuff on the wall and see what sticks. Take the measurements and then make adjustments. What most people don't do is they don't take the measurements and make adjustments. They throw a bunch of crap at the wall. It doesn't stick. Nah, it doesn't work. Stuff doesn't work. I tried Facebook ads. It doesn't work. It's like, my favorite line is from Gary Vaynerchuk. If you guys know who Gary V is, he's like, if you run Facebook ads and it doesn't work, it's not because Facebook ads suck. It's because you suck. Meaning you just didn't do a good job at running the correct ads. And that's true of anything. You could, like door hangers, going back to what the fence company said. If I go put 100 door hangers on houses and I don't get a single call, does that mean that door hangers don't work? Not necessarily. It could just be what's on my door hanger. Maybe the colors aren't very good. They're not attractive. Maybe the ad copy or the copywriting on there is not enough to get people to move. Like, there's lots of things that can affect the results of what you're doing. And if you don't test it, you won't know. So if I wanted to test whether the effectiveness of door hangers, I may make 3 different style of door hangers with different colors, different pictures, different ads, or ad copy. The words that are on the page is the ad copy, and then go out and put 100 of each one, 300 door hangers, and see which one gets the best result. I put 100 of one, 100 of another, 100 of another. That's my test, right? That's my test sample size. and then I get a few calls. I get 3 or 4 calls that come in. I get 0 calls from one that I made. I get 1 call from another that I made, but I get 3 calls from another one that I made. Well, in that example, it's using deductive reasoning. It's probably a good idea to say that the one that I got 3 calls from probably converts better. So how can I test that again, right? Now I can take that one and maybe I test it against 2 more designs. Or maybe it's the color. I think the color is what it is. So I keep the color, but I change the message. So I got 2 different door hangers that are both the exact same color, right? The background color is the exact same. I just changed the messaging on the door on the hanger, and I go try it again. Put another 100 of that one, another 100 of the new one. Test the results. Now I get 6 calls from the new one. It has the same color but a different message. The other one I got 2 calls. Like, you just keep doing this over and over and over until you like dial it super deep in. You don't just get on Canva and make a little picture of what you think looks good, and then you post it on Facebook and ads, and nobody likes it, and go, yeah, Facebook ads suck. This doesn't work. I'm not doing it. No, that's not how you do it, guys. You got to run multiple versions of it. There's companies out there that are managing millions and millions of dollars of ad spend each month. Like, they're managing ads for companies, and they're doing like $10 million a month in ad spend, meaning they're spending $10 million each month on ads. And they'll be the first one to tell you, like, we don't know specifically what's going to work for you. We have a pretty good idea based on experience, but we don't know specifically. So we're going to go and we're going to create 5 different ad creatives and run them and see which ones do best. And then we're going to turn off the ones that don't perform well, and we're going to keep the ones that do perform well running. That's just how you do marketing. Fence Company says, if you get Google Guaranteed, that's a game changer, 100%. Get Google Guaranteed, get on Google. Anything Google has to do it. I was a contractor, MP 2021. I had a GC license. I was a general contractor, but I didn't build homes or anything. I did remodeling, predominantly remodeling. Do you think the platform is created to polarize, thus generating the best revenue for the platform? I think anything that's polarizing is going to generate views. If you go, I mean, there's some people are like really good, like are actually creative, where it's like they're not putting out polarizing content. They're just really good, and it's like entertaining to watch. But if you look at a lot of the ones that get a lot of views, they're usually polarizing to some degree. They're picking a side of some argument and then making that point. I was watching a video interview one time of a guy on TikTok, and he's on YouTube and stuff, and he 3D prints. He like invents all kinds of random like dumb stuff, and you guys may have seen him, but he's invented like hundreds of different things that are stupid, like just random things that don't mean anything, and he 3D prints them. And he made a Tic Tac. He made a Tic Tac holder. You guys know what a Tic Tac is? Then clear plastic with a little flip lid, and then they all shake around. Well, he didn't like them shaking around in his pocket, so he made a little plastic divider that would fit down inside the clear tube, and it would hold like it had little circles that fit the Tic Tacs, and you would put the Tic Tacs in each one, and it would hold like 32 Tic Tacs or whatever it was. So you put them in the case, and that way it wouldn't rattle in your pocket and make a bunch of noise, right? So the point of this whole story is, when he was doing the video on purpose, let's say the Tic Tac holder held 32 Tic Tacs. On purpose, he said, you get, what did he say? Maybe it was like 16. I don't remember. Let's just say it was 16. You get 9 on each side. Each side holds 9 for a total of 16 Tic Tacs, right? He purposely said the wrong number. the total. And what happened in the comments is that everybody started commenting. It's not 16, it's 18. 9 per side would be 18, not 16. Learn how to count, learn how to do math, blah, 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 blah. And his video went viral because he called it, what do you call it? Engagement engineering. So he created his own engagement by purposely saying the wrong number because people were going to comment and tell him he was stupid and that he was wrong. That's what I mean by like being polarizing and understanding how social media works. Facebook user says Andrew Tate style. Andrew Tate is very polarizing. Like he's very polarizing. It's hard for a lot of people to take that position. There's some people that can do that. I mean, he went to jail, got targeted. Like that's you got to be able to have the resources if you're going to do it like Andrew Tate. But if you look at like Alex Hormozy, who's another really, really popular social media person, like he has a very specific style. So yeah, you can definitely do that. Clint says, what about big jobs that start out weird? What do you mean, Clint? Give me some information on that. What do you mean by big jobs that start out weird? And while you're saying that, Facebook user says, would you put all of the one kind of hanger in a particular area so that you can know which hanger worked versus the one that didn't? Yeah, I mean, I would like if you had a neighborhood of, let's say 300 homes in a specific neighborhood, I would break it up. So I would use all 3 hangers in one neighborhood. It's going to be a little bit harder to like get exact measurements on that, but you're not going to go to homes that are in the $1 million range and use one hanger and then go to the homes that are in $200,000 range and use a different hanger and expect to get the same results, right? Like you would want to try and pick a specific area, whether it's an area of the city, a zip code, types of neighborhood, like you would want to try and keep the same. And ideally you would only put them in the neighborhoods of the type of ideal client that you would want to work for. Like if you're a pool builder, and you build really expensive pools, you're probably not going to go to like areas where it's a little bit, lower income who can't afford pools. That wouldn't make any sense. But yeah, you would want to try to keep them all in the same. Fence company says, whenever I come back from vacation, I'm rusty for a few days. The more you do sales, yeah, 100%. 100%. Jake Paul is definitely benefiting from, yeah. If you look at all those people that are polarizing, Jake Paul and Andrew Tate, and even like Donald Trump, and then people like um, who's the other one? Oh, I can't remember his name now. But anybody that's going to be out there criticizing other people are going to have a lot of they're going to get a lot of engagement. So Clint says excavation company brought them to me and he's a good friend. He's good friends with the client. Okay. So where did it go bad? How's it starting out weird? Clint, what's causing it to start out weird? Interesting. Do that on the live fly. Give me some more feedback on that, Clint. Let me know. Don't be so cryptic. Give me like what is weird? Define weird to me. If you guys have any questions or comments, throw them in there in the comments. We'll open it up. I got about 10 minutes or so before I got to leave. So let me know. So far, Clint, what you've told me is not weird. So I need some more I need some more information before I can give you some feedback. Anybody else have any comments? Questions? Throw them in the comments. Be happy to answer them for you. I don't know why it's so slow to post. Residential plumbing service, you're welcome. Butters, great loaded question. Why are contractors afraid to take the leap for any kind of training? That's an easy one, actually. It's ego, man. It's pride. If I can build a house, surely I can figure out business. If I can, if I can do tiling, if I can figure out how to tile a shower, surely I know how to do sales. I can figure out how to do sales. Clint says the excavator could build it and wants to hand it off to me. So far, man, I don't. You haven't given me any red flags or anything that's like starting off weird. Maybe he's busy. Maybe it's smaller than what he has. Maybe he doesn't do. Maybe he does larger projects, and for him to, deploy his assets to the place and do it, it would actually cost him more money than giving it to somebody else. I mean, like I haven't heard anything yet that sounds weird. You got to give me more information if you want me to give you some feedback on that. Butters, I don't know, man. I wish I could figure out the secret to getting contractors to stop trying to figure it out on their own and get help. You know, it's one of those things that's and you know this, but every single person who's ever got help in their business, they all say, man, I wish I would have done this sooner. I wish I would have got help sooner. It's like, yeah, I mean, if I was starting a new business in a totally new industry that I don't know anything about, the first thing I'm going to do is go find someone in that industry that knows how to do it, and I'm going to hire them and pay them a lot of money so they can teach me how to do this in the shortest amount of time possible. Like, that's what I would do. If I was like, you know what, I woke up this morning, like, you know what, I'm going to start a bakery. I want to be a baker. I'm going to start a bakery company. I'm going to go find the top bakers in the world. I'm going to go look for some courses, some coaching, something that's going to help me shortcut that process. And I'm going to pay them a lot of money. If I don't have any money, I'm going to go be a apprentice for them for a year. I'm going to try and do everything I can. I'm going to work for free. I'm going to try and gain as much knowledge as I humanly can in the shortest amount of time so that I can have the greatest success in the shortest amount of time. Like that's just the answer to everything. Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. 100%. KM Fence Company says, have you all noticed that the suppliers are being extra nice since the economy slowed down? Yeah. This is so important for contractors. Like, I don't care if you get one call a day or 50 calls a day. You should treat everyone the same because you don't know if tomorrow the phone stops ringing. What happens is, oh man, I'm covered up. I got so many leads. I don't need any more leads. I don't need to do marketing. I don't care if I get back with people. I don't return calls. I don't return emails. I'm just so busy. I got enough work for the next 6 months. I don't need to worry about it. So in the meantime, you're burning all of your bridges. You're burning your entire pipeline. In 3 months, the phone stops ringing. The economy goes down. People stop buying. And then in 6 months, you have zero work. And you're like, hey, Brad, how do you get the phone to ring? Can you tell me how to get the phone to ring? It's like, dude, you just threw away 50 potential leads because you were, quote, too busy and you didn't want to get back to people. Like, be professional all the time. And then that way, when it does slow down, you have a list of people that you could follow up with. Hey, John, Mary, you guys called about 6 months ago looking for some work. We were completely covered up. Wasn't able to, get your feet, fit in then. But are you still needing help? You still needing that work done? Actually, yeah, I'm glad you called. We haven't found anybody else. We didn't know if we were going to kind of put it on the back burner, but now that you got time, we want you to do the work. But you burn that bridge, you don't call people back and you don't send them an email or say, hey, I'm sorry, we're booked up, and you just blow them off. You're just shooting yourself in the foot. So yeah, everybody starts to get more friendly when the work starts drying up. KMTV, I just got my GC in California, still trying to find a way to get a good spreadsheet for prices. First of all, sorry you live in California. That's going to really suck. Get a good spreadsheet for prices. I don't know what you mean by that. What's the spreadsheet going to show you? Like, are you wanting somebody to say, here's what you should charge for tile? Is that what you mean? Because that doesn't exist. Every single business has their own number. Like your overhead in California is going to be probably 5 times higher than my overhead in Indiana. So if I shared with you exactly my prices, you would go out of business because it's just not the same. Store more shelving systems. How does someone learn more about your program? I'm so glad you asked. If you're on TikTok, you can just literally go right here to this Facebook group, Contractor Profit Blueprint. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook page, not my group, you're already in the group. You know how to reach out. All you got to do is shoot me a message, guys. If you're on TikTok, you can also click on my profile, and there's all kinds of links in there to contact me. You can send me a text. Shoot me a text if you want. 812-57. No, I'm at 812. Sorry, 812-405-4610. 812-405-4610. Hope that's the right number. Hope you don't start texting the wrong person. Or you can shoot me an email, info@hammerandgrind.com. You can also, I'll throw this on the screen. You can just go to it's if you're on TikTok, you can see it twice, but you can just go to hammerandgrind.com and get some information there on my services if you want. I turn that off. Clint says, could I DM my batteries tap? Yeah, Clint, send me a message. Just shoot me a DM, man. I'll happy to talk to you. Shoot me a DM. That's another way you can just shoot me a DM on TikTok if you're on TikTok, or on Facebook. Shoot me a Facebook message. KTM, I've been doing tile for years. I know how to price that, just not the in between. In between of what? The in between of what? I'm not following you there, man. Patron says work under something else. Contracting license is a good idea. Work under someone else's? Is that what you mean? It says something else. Work under someone else's contracting license. If you're an employee, sure, but not if you own a business and you're going to work under someone else's license. That's actually illegal in most states. I know in Indiana where I'm at, or at least in the city where I live, you can use someone else's license, but they have to work for you like 40 hours a week. So like let's say I own a contracting business and I want to start offering plumbing services, I could hire a master plumber who has a license, work under his license, but he has to work for me as a full-time employee. He can't work for me 5 hours a week, on paper, and then I can use his license. He has to be a full-time employee to use his license. Oswaldo says, I own an electrical business and my biggest problem is office organization. I have 14 field guys. That's easy, Oswald. Listen, Oswaldo, you need to listen to my podcast next week. Promise me you'll do it. Next week on Monday, you're going to want to listen to that podcast because I talk specifically with a contractor about exactly what you just said, getting organized in your office. And I give tons of tips on there, guys. I mean, it's in my opinion, it's one of the best podcasts I ever recorded. For my own reasons, you may think it's stupid. I don't know, but I just think it's one of the best ones that I've done. Make sure you listen to that podcast next week. It should be fire. Installing everything else, vanity, electrical. Oh, you're going to start doing like remodeling, you're saying. So like you're doing like a bathroom remodel. You know how to do the tile, but you don't know how to do the electrical, plumbing, all that stuff. Well, if first of all, you're going to hire an electrician and you're going to ask him, what do you charge for this? You're going to hire a plumber. You're going to ask him, what do you charge for this? You may hire a carpenter, or maybe you're going to do that yourself. But you're going to the mechanicals. You should be subbing out. You shouldn't be doing yourself. But if the plumber's like, hey, I can do that. It's $1,200. It's $2,500. You're just going to mark it up. You're just going to mark up their estimate. So you don't really have to know like what the pricing is. You could go to a plumber and say, hey, how do you do your bathrooms? He may say, I do it by the hour. I just charge, for remodels, I do it by the hour. How much you charge an hour? $125. Okay. How long does it on typically take you to rough in a shower valve? Usually takes me about 2 hours. Well, okay, 2 hours, $125. That's $250, right? How much does it usually take you to? How long does it take you to do a sink? You can ask these questions to get a good idea. He says, total to do a bathroom, I probably have 10 hours. Okay, so $125. That's $1,250 dollars. I'm going to write that down in my estimate. I sell the job. He comes out, does it, sends me a bill for $1,800. I'm like, wait a minute. You said usually it's about $1,250. Yeah, but I had to redo the toilet drain because it was broken, and that's not typical. Well, that could be a change order because the toilet drain was broken and had to be fixed, and you weren't planning on fixing it. That could be a change order. Some of that may get billed to the customer, but you're learning from it. You do the one job, it's $600 difference. Maybe you have to eat that cost as a learning curve so that on the next job you need to add more. Like there is no use these prices and you'll be good across the board. It's use these prices on the first job, and then you're going to go back and job cost it and figure out what it actually costs you to produce it. And then you're going to make adjustments on the next job. And then you're going to repeat that process and rinse and repeat every job you do. So if you do that, it should only take you maybe 5 jobs total, maybe 10, worst case scenario, if you're doing a bunch of different stuff. But within the first 5 to 10 jobs, you should pretty much know, like, on average, how long it's going to take, because you're going to track how long the hours are. You're going to track how long it takes you to install the vanity. You're going to go and you're going to see, oh, this is a vanity that sits in the middle of the floor. There's no walls. That I can install in 30 minutes. The next thing is going to be a vanity that has a wall on one end and it's open on the other. That takes me an hour. The next thing is I got a vanity between 2 walls and it's got to be sandwiched in. That one takes 2.5 hours because there's more to it. Blah, 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 blah. The vanity has 1 bowl versus 2 bowls. If it's a vanity in the opening with 1 bowl, it's 30 minutes. If it's got 2 bowls, it's 45 minutes. So on and so on. Like you're basically going to build your own pricing sheet based on experience. There is no go here and download this spreadsheet and it has all the prices for you. So one thing you can do if you have no idea, like you've never done it, you have no clue, like you can go get a resource like the RS Means pricing guide. You guys ever heard of RS Means? Like they put out a pricing guide every year for national averages. I'm not looking at that for price. That has pricing in there, but I'm not looking at that book for the prices. I'm looking at it because they will put a average labor time to install. So you can look up the book, single bowl vanity, and it says carpenter 45 minutes to install. It's like, okay, I can use that number as a starting point to price out my services. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, if I just blabbled on KMTV, but you got to start building it out. No one's going to have that, like give you a price sheet specifically for what you do. And every city's different. Every town's different. You may have extra costs because it takes, your permitting process is a nightmare, and it takes an extra 2 hours for you to go downtown and wait to get your permits for your job. Well, in my town, I can go down there and like literally get in and get a permit within 5-10 minutes. And it's only 20 minutes away. So you might have to drive an hour away, wait 2 hours to get a permit pulled, and then the license, you know, calling and get inspections, you may have to wait for half a day. Like, just the permitting piece alone could be night and day difference from multiple locations in the US. And that's why you should never really get pricing and stuff from online, because it's totally different. Like, everyone's different. With that, guys, I got to hop off here. I got to go to the parent teacher open house. My son's got starting the first grade a couple days, so we got to go and check out all that stuff. I appreciate you hanging out with me. If you guys want more help, more information about my business, like I said, you can go to hammerandgrind.com. You can shoot me a DM, whatever, however you want to do it. Smoke signal, you know, airplane banner. I don't give a crap. Just get a hold of me. There's lots of ways. It's super easy, and I can give you more information. Appreciate y'all hanging out. I'll be back live next Monday to do another live. And like I said, if you want more help, let me know. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.